In this episode of Inspire and Be Inspired, I'm interviewing Sian Clarke. Now, Sian is a walking, talking example of living your passion each and every day. Sian is a personal stylist and she helps to give people confidence through the clothes choices that they pick on a day-to-day basis. Sian is also a mentor, a lecturer, and just a damn right inspirational entrepreneur. I'm looking forward to diving into a little bit more into Sian's life and hearing about some of the things that have happened along her journey. So stay tuned, sit tight, we're in for another great Inspire and Be Inspired. Welcome back to another episode of Inspire and Be Inspired. Today we have the fabulous Sian Clarke joining us. Firstly, how are you, Sian?
Hi, well, I'm so excited to be here. What a lovely start to kind of winding down for Christmas. So thanks so much for having me. Feeling good, excited to chat, probably talk your ear off, the usual.
That's good. That's what we love. I'm good. Nice productive morning, which is always good to get the day started. I want to start by asking you to tell me and the viewers a little bit about you and your business.
Yeah, sure. You might have to stop me because I can talk about this.
I will. I'm sure I'll interrupt with questions at some point.
So, as Tyler said, I am Sian. I am a personal stylist. Now, a personal stylist is someone that works one-to-one with you and your clients. It could be, I work with both men and women, and I basically help people kind of strip everything back from their style back to kind of reconnect with who they are. So we look at everything from, I call them the style foundations. So they are literally as though a foundation of the house. So without the bricks, you can't live in your house. So it's very much about going right back to basics. Because if you think about it, when we were growing up, when we were at school, even now, no one really says like, this colour will suit you. This is how you know how something suits you. This is a really good piece of clothing for your physique or your body shape. So it's very much about learning the real fundamentals and then putting that into practice with things that they own already. So for example, I run a service-based business like you. So once we've reconnected and found out what body shape they have, what colours suit them, what kind of style personality they have, we then start to work with what they own already. So I go in Mary Kondo style, or if you watch Queer Eye, I don't know if you do, but there's a guy called Tan in it, and he is like a wardrobe stylist. So I basically get in there, reorganise it, buy new outfits for them, and look for the missing gaps. And then what we do afterwards is we shop together for the missing gaps. So basically, doesn't really feel like a job. I get to play dress up and shop all the time.
So initially when you do the strip down and you bring it back to basics, I guess it's quite it can be quite cost effective if people are you're getting old clothes out that people maybe think, oh, that doesn't really work for me, or maybe they're not wearing it in the way that could work for them. Would you say that's one of the unique selling points, in terms of saving money? Is
definitely, it's investing in yourself for the long run.
Yeah.
So, I work with you and I give you the skills that you can then take away and use, without me. And I mean, obviously I'd love to stay. I see clients kind of 2-3 times a year, and I don't get offended when people don't come back, because essentially I've actually done a great job and they now know enough to kind of fly solo. So it's about, another USP is like it's confidence boosting. It helps them kind of figure out who they are again, and it's also something that makes them excited. Like I always say, my favorite saying on the whole planet is, style is a way to let the world know who you are without having to speak. You look at me and within 10th of a second you've made a judgment of who I am. Not in a bad way. And that can really help in business. It can help when you're pitching. It can help even if you're going to brunch with a roast with friends. You can be like, here I am. I'm in my jumpsuit today. I'm feeling high energy. I like to wear bright colours, and everyone gets that from you without you having to say anything.
That is fabulous. I love that saying. Style is a way of letting the world know who you are without having to speak.
Yeah.
Fantastic. I think, excuse me. Yeah, a great saying. Now, before you actually started riding solo, because you're a full-time business woman now, you know, you run your own business, you're not relying on any other jobs as a form of income, you are fully out here hustling. But take us back to the start, you know, when you actually decided this is what you wanted to do, and how you actually started the process to get into, you know, becoming your own boss.
Yeah, it's great, isn't it, by the way?
Yeah.
Terrifying, but great. So I initially trained in design. So I used to be a designer, and I used to specialise in print. So I kind of graduated from uni, and I started working with different brands, and I fell into the fashion styling, which is what most people think I am. So fashion styling or editorial styling is kind of the stuff you see in magazines or Instagram, all the, you know, real glam kind of editorial shoots. And I really enjoyed that, and that actually taught me that I've got a lot of energy. I need to be on my feet. I love, you know, being creative, and I thought there was always something missing. And I'm obsessed with people, and I'm obsessed with helping people feel good, and I love clothes. And I was like, that can't be a job, surely. Surely that can't be a job. And I remember I was on Instagram, and this advert for the London College of Style popped up, and I was like, ooh. So the algorithm got me good, and I clicked on this thing that said personal styling, and I was reading it, and I was like, oh my word, that's actually clothes helping people, and oh my gosh, it's everything I love. What's going on? So I then looked at the price tag, and I was like, oh gosh. So I saved up, and 4 years ago I did the course, and honestly, within half an hour, I was sat in the room, and my heart was going, and I was like, oh, I found it. This is it. So I had like the best week, and I thought, right, I was still living in Devon at the time, and I thought, okay, I'm going to move to London. So I moved to London for a different job that didn't work out. It's pretty traumatic actually, but all for good reason. So I then had kind of a month without working, and I thought, hang on a second, this is a really good time for me to make this month worthwhile, rather than kind of go into like self like loathing and panic about, you know, what's been going on. And I got in touch with the Prince's Trust and did a business course with them. So it's kind of a couple of initial kind of suss out whether your idea is going to be okay, and then you do a week. And I know you did this as well, didn't you, Tyler?
Yeah, many years ago.
Yeah. So that gave me the first taste of what business was, and you know, I didn't even know what a business plan was, and as soon as I had to write one, it made everything, I think you might have the same, it made it really black and white and really clear that I was going to, like, oh, if I do this, actually it's much more tangible to do. So yeah,
let me just pause you there for a second, because I think you said something really important that you kind of glazed over, that a lot of people will hopefully take some inspiration, because you moved to London and you started working a job, and you said it didn't work out, or, you know, I don't know if you're comfortable to elaborate a bit more on that.
Yeah, so I actually got poached by a design company and moved to London from Devon for this job, which I was really excited about. And I thought, you know, great, I'm going up, my designing's going much better, you know, I've obviously been noticed. I was really excited, left everything behind to move to London. And when I got there, it was a very different environment to what I was used to, and they worked in a very different way. So this is upon reflection, because at the time I just was like, I'm just useless. And they basically accused me of lying about my job role at my previous job. They said that I wasn't capable, and they said that I was basically using them to come to move to London. And they actually accused me of like trying to start my own business while I was there, and didn't pay me. So it all went to court and everything. It was awful. It was the worst thing that's ever happened to me. But I've learned so much from that. And I won the court case. Just
Fantastic.
But yeah, it was awful. But I really wanted to make sure that I turned it into something positive and used it.
Yeah. And that's what I want to touch on, because you had a traumatic experience. It didn't work out. You know, this job seemed like it was right up your street, exactly kind of what you wanted to do. And, you know, it went horribly wrong. And you used the time after that to think, hang on, actually, let me start my own business. Let me start looking at ways to get into it. Which I think is incredible. You've made the most out of a bad situation, which, you know, we can always get down and depressed and sad when things go wrong, but you've actually, right, what am I going to do now? And that positive attitude is so important when it comes to business. Absolutely.
And it's something that at the time, I don't think I realized what an impact it was going to have. And I'm so glad that I made the decision to, not kind of wallow.
Yeah.
Because it's quite easy to do so. But even now, when I'm having a hard time, or I'm struggling to make a decision or which direction to take Styled by Sian, I do think, like, come on, you've got through that, you can make this decision. So it's a really good kind of like thing to focus on and be like, no, you've got this, come on.
Yeah. So in that process, you mentioned you learned so much. Do you care to share some of the things that you learned, you know, because of that experience?
Yeah, I think you learn your strengths, and you learn to think in new ways. A bit like kind of going through all of COVID, we've all, like you yourself as well, you've had to think in a different way and change your mindset. And I think a lot to do with running your own business is also about how you see the world, how you the impact you want to make. And I think kind of going through that made me realize the kind of person I want to be, the person I absolutely do not want to be, but crucially how I'd like to make others feel around me. Like, I want people to feel safe. I don't want people to feel vulnerable. I want them to feel looked after and nurtured, as opposed to a complete mess. So it was really valuable, you know. It helped me learn how to speak properly and communicate, and
No, fantastic. So you've been in this journey. You've gone to the Prince's Trust. You've gone to their business program. You know, how did you build up the business? You know, were you working a part-time job? You know, what other things were you doing alongside as you started to grow your business?
Yeah, so definitely one of the scariest decisions, and I'm sure it was for you, was leaving the kind of regular income. So so I retrained 4 years ago, and then after I did the Prince's Trust month, I actually got a job as a personal stylist. So what I wanted to do in a big department store in Oxford Street. Mm-hmm. And I think, again, I kind of was just bumbling around and thinking, I need to do something with this. I don't want to design anymore. I want to be a personal stylist. I don't know if it's the right decision, but I also need to pay my rent. But at least I can really, really develop my skills. So, you know, when I was at the department store, I was there for a total of just under 3 years. So I did 1 year of working full time and building my business. So that's when I was doing all of the business plan and all the pitching, and just even things like the Instagram account, and figuring out how to make my website look better, and writing blog, and all the real kind of things that people don't realise that we're always trying to develop. I kind of got into that. But most importantly, that year was really fantastic for me, for meeting every kind of body shape, every type of personality, skin tone, complexion, budget, learning about brands. It was actually, upon reflection, quite a smart move without me realising.
You gained a lot of experience.
And most importantly, confidence. And I knew, and I truly believed that I was a good stylist. And that was one thing, again, that really motivates me. So I'm like, no, I'm good at this. I want to help people. I want to make a difference. So then I went down to part-time, and that's when I started to create a community of clients that I could, it kind of, once that started, and it's again probably the same for you, like word of mouth and things were starting to build. And then I was about to hand my notice in because I'd done a year with my business. I would have been able to pay my rent and bills, and for me, I just wanted to know that I could survive on that and then build it. And then I went to hand my notice in, but I held off because this thing called COVID. So I was very lucky and actually still had that part-time role during COVID, but having all of that extra time just meant that I'd absolutely not polished everything, because everything needs developing all the time, but yeah. I'd had the extra time to really push things and really find, you know, I want to be known for colour, I want to be known for you know, I'm quite high end, but I'm not like designer kind of. I've really found where I sit in the market.
Yeah.
And then I handed I've been fully fledged, fully freelance since July. I think it's July. And I wish I'd done it earlier, because it's just gone, which is amazing.
I think when you leave your part-time job, you know, or your full-time job or whatever, it is scary, isn't it? You know, the fear, you know, am I going to be able to pay my rent? Yeah. But one of the things I learned, you know, if you've been able to consistently build an income, that extra time that you get from leaving that part-time job, you know, you put that into your business, and you know, you earn generally more than what the part-time job was paying. So you know, I wish, well, actually I probably left my part-time job about right. You know, if I was being safe, I probably would have stayed there a little bit longer, but I got fed up.
Hard.
It like you said, it is scary. So the catalyst for leaving, or the confidence that you were given when you thought, right, I'm going to leave, that's because you were able to generate income for a year. Yeah. And without any other income, you would have been able to pay your bills, etc.
Yeah, and that just gave me the reassurance I needed. And also it's quite seasonal. So I also wanted to know, like the 2 years before that, there was always a pattern with when I would have more clients and not. And obviously last year I had, you know, loads more clients, and then this year's been amazing, but the same patterns happened again. So it was just again reassuring, like now work slowed down for me and I'm focusing on selling vouchers for people's Christmas present, but without me having done that year, I think knowing that it slows down in December for everyone, for everyone in my industry, I would be freaking out now. And it's all about learning your own business, learning the patterns. I mean, you never stop learning, right? Knowledge is power. Exactly.
And you found another way to try and capitalize in the quiet months, you know, with gift vouchers, which is a very, you know, sensible idea. What are some of the other challenges that you faced, you know, since you've gone full time within your business?
I would say there's probably a bit of imposter syndrome in there sometimes. I think there's been some, like I really, I teach as well, so it's a real honour. So I now teach at the London College of Style, which is where I studied 4 years ago. So it's such an amazing, like, I feel so honoured to now be a lecturer there just 4 years later. And lots of students, I've started mentoring, and lots of students will come to me and because personal styling looks quite glamorous and it looks, but you know, it's a luxury service that I actually couldn't afford myself. So I really get it, but you know, it's people say, like, I feel like I can't charge people this amount of money for something that I just really love doing, and kind of having, you know, a real challenge for me was again to let go of the fact that, you know, it's an expensive business, but you know, the benefits will just kind of keep on coming for clients. And it's, you know, it's not like a one-hit wonder, like, okay, bye. You know, I text people all the time, you know, I'm always there. It's an ongoing thing. But I think, accepting that you're going to be charging money, particularly when you're like, actually I have to pay my rent, so could you please pay me? That was a real big lesson for me. What about you?
I mean, you know, pricing is always difficult when it comes to business, you know, because you can do the service that you're providing and you think, well, I can actually do it. It's very easy to do this service. But what you've got to realize and remember is that the other person, it's not easy for them. That's why they're coming to you. And just like you would go and buy another service that you can't do. I don't know if you have a car, but I'm assuming you don't know much about mechanics.
What?
I mean, how wrong of me to assume, but you get the point. To a mechanic, you know, it'd be a very simple, it could be a very simple fix because they know what they're doing, right? But to us, it's, you know, it's not. So it's really about learning that and starting to accept that you actually know stuff. And you mentioned a little bit there about imposter syndrome, you know, kind of, do I actually know what I'm talking about? You know, and that's a big thing for people in business. You know, they feel like they doubt themselves at times. But you know, if you've been doing it, if you're staying consistent doing it, you're learning continuously. And I think a lot of entrepreneurs and people in business and people that grow their business need to try and, you know, remember that they're delivering a valuable service, selling a valuable product, and they are an expert if that is what they are doing. So yeah.
I think reflection is really good for kind of beating away imposter syndrome, because if I think about, you know, what I was doing this time last year and everything that, you know, I've achieved this year, and it will be the same for you. Not only have I, you know, my business grown, but in terms of being a businesswoman, like I'm much more savvy, and I know this time next year, you know, we'll be having a very similar conversation, but we'll be like, oh, and since then, you know, X, Y, Z, and now I think like this, and oh, how did I not realise? How did I get that far without knowing X?
yeah. Definitely. So you've come from, you know, being wanting a business, you know, wanting the dream job as a personal stylist. You've entered into the industry, had a bad experience, then you've started part-time job to build up your experience, knowledge, and now you're fully fledged again, doing your own thing, own boss. What advice would you give to someone that was in your position, you know, 4 or 5 years ago?
So I've got two bits that I would really love to share if we've got time. One, this is your journey. This is your business. This is just for you. Do not, you know, compare yourself to anyone, because you will go at a different rate. You might go faster, you might go slower. Your brain will work in a different way. You'll have a different spin on how you do things. And, you know, the thing that will hold you back is you going, oh, well, my competitor does it like this, so I should do it like this. Or, you know, my other competitor, they achieved this in 6 months. You know, you're a completely different person. You know, most of my competitors, and I hope no one sees this, but they're a lot older than me. You know, they come from, you know, they're much more financially stable. They're completely different. You know, they have children, most of them. So like they've got that, you know, that whole side that I don't have to look after. I was constantly comparing myself to them and driving myself mad, because, you know, most of them have had some high-flying careers before, so they had all these contacts and they could do all these things. And as soon as I started to realize, like, the feedback I get from my clients is, you know, Style by Sian and Sian are as one. You know, my business is an extension of me. As long as I'm being authentic and staying in my lane, you know, yes, I made mistakes, and I, you know, will continue to make more, but that's when you learn fastest and hardest. So just remember it's your journey, and don't let, you know, other people's journeys interfere with yours. because it will drive you insane.
Yeah, I completely agree. Compare yourself to the person you were yesterday, not to someone else.
Yeah.
As long as you're improving within yourself and you're making progress, then that's fantastic. Comparing to others can drive us crazy. And also, a lot of us, we don't see what goes on behind the scenes. Like you said, you've got your competitors. Someone built their business in 6 months, but you don't know what went on behind the scenes. Did they have a big investment to someone do their website? There's so much that we don't know, so it's very difficult to compare to other people because we don't have all the necessary information. So I think as a bit of advice, that is fantastic. What's the second one?
So the second one is that and I still tell myself this. I'll be like, everyone that friends, family, fellow, not so much fellow entrepreneurs actually, but everyone will have an opinion of what you should be doing. Everyone will suddenly become an expert in being a businessman or woman. Everyone will suddenly want to give you what they think is missing, and 9 times out of 10 they don't actually understand what you do. Then they don't run their own business, but all of a sudden they're an expert, and they will give you their opinion, filtered, unfiltered, the whole. And it used to drive me insane. Like, even some of my closest friends will be like, do you know what you should do? And I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
And it comes from a place of love, and it comes from a place of support. But if you listen to everyone's opinions, you'll never get anything done. So just, listen to your gut and stick to your, massive to-do list.
Yeah.
And if it's really good advice, like if you've got a mentor or, someone that's, also an entrepreneur, then absolutely listen to them. But you need to kind of trust your gut instinct with what they're saying.
Yeah. I think that's really important. Take pieces of advice from where you feel it's beneficial. I'm, the same, lots of friends or family, they might put in their 2 pence here or there, and you listen, but you don't have to agree with them, and you don't have to do what they say. Unless they've been in that situation before, unless they've got some good evidence, or don't necessarily listen to it. And I think everyone is an expert when it comes to your business. And I think actually someone said it recently, everyone's an expert when they don't have an investment or anything to lose themselves. When they're not at risk of losing anything, it's easy to make suggestions, isn't it? Because they're not going to have to deal with or suffer with the consequences.
Couldn't agree more.
So 2 fantastic pieces of advice. Now, this playlist is called Inspire and Be Inspired, and I want to know, and I want you to tell the viewers, what inspires you? I am so inspired by I think my friends really inspire me from what they're doing. I think other people's success really inspires me. I think a good old chat like this really inspires me. Definitely being surrounded by people and having goals and not even goals, dreams. Daydreams can inspire me. It can be from anything from just walking down the road and seeing something and being like, oh, I need to do that, or going away and take some time out and then an amazing idea will come to you. But I think the most inspiring people in my life are definitely my friends. They're really supportive and really, I've got a couple of friends that are doing their own thing as well, and just seeing them achieve things that they only dreamed of is just like, makes me so proud of them and inspired to do, to want to create and do similar things. Seeing your peers, your friends win, inspires you and makes you want to win too, in that way.
What about you?
Same thing. Inspiring people, inspiring chats. Seeing, in fact, one of the things that really inspires me is the younger generation who want to learn and actually action action things, you know, that they ask for advice and you give them advice and they listen, they action it, and they reap the rewards from it. That's something that I find really inspirational.
I feel like that generation's got a lot more fire in them.
Yeah. But I think when you're younger, you have a lot more fire in you anyway, because I definitely know at the start of my business, I was very, very fired up with, you know, looking for opportunities. And now it's more, it's smarter fire. Yeah. Where before, you know, it was like, get the flamethrower out. But now it's a lot more calculated when it comes to, developing and growing the business. Right. Is there anything else that you'd like to add? Anything about your business or anything you'd like to share with the viewers and listeners?
I think something that really helped me, you know, everyone that watches this will be in a different stage because we're all different. But something that I really love and remind myself is just progress over perfection. So just make progress, keep going, keep chipping away, like you say, stay consistent, and enjoy the ride.
Yeah, fantastic. Now we have some viewers on this channel. Hopefully people are watching this. And the last thing we do is we get you to tell them to support the TING. Hit the like, hit the subscribe. So if you could just kindly tell the viewers to support the TING.
Please support the TING. Like, subscribe, everything. Do it. Support is what keeps entrepreneurs going.
Fantastic. All right, thanks, Sean.